You know, I'm not 100% sure if we're getting the English dub song. I really don't know, to be honest. But I would say there would be, if you have it on English dub, it would probably, I would imagine, where that song comes up, it would play the English version. That is my guess. So, because that would make sense to me. Okay, so imagine the English voice like this. Whatever there's Japanese voice or Chinese right now, whatever the dubs are for those, that's what English will be. It's not going to be fully voiced story or anything like that. Unless they decide that from now on they're going to start voicing the story in CN and in like JP and stuff. At that point, then I would say we would get the English version of the story voiced. Honestly, I don't know. I might, if the voice acting was good, I might listen to it. But I'm already not a huge fan of what I've heard. I feel like they got some of the characters, they just kind of missed the mark. Vera. Vera was like one of the worst offenders. I would always listen to JP Vera over English Vera from what they showed us. It just seemed like a completely wrong, different character and personality, English Vera. So I'm always for English voice acting. I love that. If it's done well. That is, it has to be done well. If there's a better option, I'm gonna pick it. Because why would I settle for something that's worse? It just, some of the characters just did not sound correct. And a lot of the lines sounded forced, as if they were forcing the voice out. It just didn't sound natural. Lee was one of the better ones. Alpha was done pretty well from what I heard. She wasn't too bad. Lee was one of the better ones for sure. Especially his introduction. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then, I don't know about the gameplay. I feel like the gameplay was a step down from the introduction. But it's still one of the better ones for sure. Liv wasn't bad, but you know, I wouldn't say it was good either. Somewhere in the middle. I don't even remember any of the other ones. I feel like there was like one or two others that were shown, but I don't remember. For me, I didn't like Ronald because he just sounded too over the top and like forced eccentric, if that makes sense. It just didn't sound correct to me. You think she's new to the industry? Well, surprisingly, it sounds like she's one of the better ones, so she's doing pretty good first impressions as far as I'm concerned. I feel like Alva's voice needs to be a bit deeper though. I felt like it wasn't deep enough compared to normal Alpha. I know we had like a line of Plume or something, and Plume sounded deeper than Alpha, which was really off-putting. I was like, that's not how that's supposed to work. That's completely wrong character. But yeah, I'm just happy that they've got English voice acting because lots of people are going to enjoy it regardless of what I think of the quality. And it's also going to bring a lot more people to the game, I think, which is always a good thing. So, just because I don't get to enjoy it, at least other people get to enjoy it. So I think it's worth having there. I feel if you don't enjoy voice acting though, it can be very immersion breaking. So I feel like you really need to enjoy the voice acting. Otherwise, it's probably not good to use. Well, here's an example. Final Fantasy VII. So, like, I know this is pretty old now, but I don't know if you guys remember the Advent Children movie. I watched that, and I really liked the voice actors in that were good. They were fine, it matched. But I watched that in Japanese dub, and then when the Final Fantasy VII Remake game came out, and I watched it, I played it in English, it was fine. I had no issue at all with the voice acting. It was super immersive. Nothing felt forced or awkward. They did, like, in general. Aerith was a bit funny, but I don't know if that was a character change. It seemed, because I looked up the JP dub, and it seemed like they just changed her entire character to be awkward and quirky, rather than, I would say she used to be, like, more calm and caring in the original. But I think that was an actual character change thing. I don't think that was just the voice actor. But like everything else, literally everything else other than that, nothing stood out to me as awkward or unimmersive or forced. even the characters like tonalities and the actual voices that they had, and like how deep or high their voices were, everything else was like on point for me. Like I was able to just enjoy that in English, so that was nice. I really enjoyed that experience. Like, it didn't take me out of the world. It didn't make me cringe and go, oh god, that's wrong. I don't like that. Time to swap to JP. And then I gotta read everything. But at least I'm not getting broken out of the immersion. Ooh. Yeah, if Bianca's... Oh. Yeah, I don't know, man. The JP voice actors did way too well. The bar is set very high for them to get it right. It's not like, it sounds like they're employing a lot of good voice actors, like in terms of like their resumes and stuff, and their how known they are, where they're from. They've worked on lots of big projects that are very successful, and they've done good voices. But yeah, it just, I don't know if maybe it's the way they're recording, because if they record in certain ways it may feel more forced than if it's a more natural environment, or it depends on so many things. And I know it's hard, like when you're in a room solo, like if you gotta try and just record by yourself, that can be really difficult too, rather than if you're like actually back and forth with the character who you're supposed to be conversing with or whatever, like if it's a story and that sort of thing. But I know every studio has a particular way of doing it. What I would say is they should take notes from NX, because NX did it right. Or at least from the JP studio, because JP voice acting is pretty good for everyone. Even characters like, I don't particularly like Nanami's voice. I think it's like an annoying energy, too hyper sort of thing, but it doesn't bother me. Like it's done well. It's intentionally made that way. It's nothing that makes me like cringe and breaks immersion if it's in the story or that sort of thing. It's just a different type of character, but they've done it well, and I'm fine with that. You dread hearing English Nanami. It could really go either way. English Nanami could be like really good. Voice actors that did really well in JP, the same characters might be done really poorly in English. And it could be like poor characters in... Well, there aren't really any poor characters in JP. Okay, the lesser well done, I suppose. Characters that are not top of their ranking, I guess, could be done better in English. It's possible. I doubt it, but it's possible. As far as things go, they've gotten Vera so wrong that I can't say I would use the English dub when Vera's involved. Apparently, I think I could be misremembering, but I believe Vera's voice actor was in RWBY or something. And if you guys have heard the voice acting for RWBY, it's really bad. So I don't know anything like if she was one of the early voice actors or anything. Maybe it's just pure coincidence that it's like they've gotten the voice really bad and she just happened to have been in RWBY as well. But like RWBY's track record is real bad for voice actors.